Welcome to another edition of the guys, or wow, another edition of the Peel. Wow, look, this has been welcome to another edition of the Peel. Happy Mario Day, by the way. And if people don't get that, and you're not nerdy enough to understand that, I don't. There's not much I can do for you guys. Um, unfortunately, it is going to be another Joshless edition of the show. His work is kicking his ass. He's currently still there. And I don't blame the guy if he just goes straight to bed as soon as he gets home. But wow, what a weekend. Josh was over here Saturday. We did a big crawfish boil. Um, God, I forgot how many beers we drank, but we drank a lot. It was probably more than we should have. Um, hung out, watched the complete and utter ass beating that was the SKC match. Um, Edson, did you get a chance to watch any of that at all?
Well, ESPN Plus was failing on my phone, but I was keeping up with the tweets, looking at the highlights.
You didn't miss anything. And then, I mean, I know you were down at the Valley for RGV's opener, and it was a lot of the same, except in home. And I felt bad. You know, I had tweeted out or subtweeted one of our tweets or something like that, and I think I might have been to Harry, and or no, it was Aggie Dynamo or
Aggieland Dynamo.
Yeah, Aggie, yeah. And I don't watch as much Toros as I probably should, being the one of the guys that talks about the Dynamo organization. But I had a lot of high hopes watching. What would you say the first 30 minutes of that match?
15.
Was straight fire. Yeah. Okay, 15. But we'll get into that a little bit later in Edson's Down the Valley minute. Guys, look, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't want to talk about the SKC match all that much. I mean, I know I have to because that's what we do. And I know it was Tab's first road fixture, but it was something that I hope that we could leave in the past and not judge Tab going forward on in this season, because I think he has a lot to offer this club. But I don't want to coin this as a rebuild yet, like some people in MLS circles were. But before I get ahead, we do got to cover that. Edson and I will preview the upcoming match this weekend at BBVA against Seattle, and then I have a rant or two that caused me to be very angry today about U.S. soccer and their utterly disgusting
rhetoric.
Yes, about the only team that has ever won them a trophy on the senior side. But before I don't want to get too deep into that because I want to save the good stuff for later. But to the 4 people who have tuned in so far, thank you guys for tuning in. What's up, Sly? As always, I know Tony. I know Tony should be listening at some point. From Dynamo Fans for Change.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be there. I'm hoping Jorge tunes in today because I do want to have him chatting a little bit about the watch party. I wonder how that goes. Some other MLS news, and then we'll close up for today. I do have a show to announce that is going to be later this month. I guess we could make it official since I have confirmations on all sides. So that's pretty cool. But Edson, let's dive into it a little bit. Like I said, there's really not much to talk about this match. It was complete and utter failure early. Let's see. Excuse me, guys. I am also dealing with an ear infection, so that's fun. I'm still dealing with this. I need to go to the doctor, so I'm stubborn. Lineup wasn't too bad. I was pleased with it. I mean, at some point there's going to be question marks asked about Figueroa and Struna being your everyday starter. But you did have Memo, Manotas, McNamara, Boniac Garcia, Vera, Tomas Martinez, Lundqvist, Figueroa, Struna, Valentin, and Marge in net. Let's just say Marge did not at all have a great night. We did lose 4-0 case you were unaware. Uh, it wasn't pretty. What did you see, Edson, from the highlights that really stuck out to you, or from tweeting or whatever you did see from this match?
A topic that we talked about before the season started. We talked about, and specifically myself, I talked about how this high pressure tactics, play style by Tab Ramos in a 4-3-3 formation was going to affect this team with two center backs that aren't really known for speed. Matias Vera, who we have seen play mostly with somebody alongside him at the center defensive midfielder. And what we saw, or what I saw on Wednesday from the highlights that I saw, it was just a horrible display of attentiveness. They looked like a high school team trying to defend the ball. Everybody trying to go where the ball is rather than being wary of their surroundings and who they have to mark. Specifically, I believe it was in the third goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's ridiculous how much space there was with I think it was the second goal it was the one that through ball from Kinda all the way to, I believe it was Roger Espinosa. It was Struna was caught up really high. And I mentioned it, this team with this high press and leaving so much space behind, they were going to be very, very vulnerable for counterattacks and teams that play quick passing and a very direct kind of soccer. And that's exactly what we saw. We saw with Zarek Valentin in the third goal, he had to cover two players and ended up covering none of them. Why? Because Struna and Vera and Minor and Lundqvist, they were all marking the same guy with the ball.
Edson, how'd you say his name?
Lundqvist. That's his
Lundqvist.
Shut up, Justin. Shut
up. And I guess, we knew Kansas City was going to be decent. I mean, they handled Vancouver, and the fact that Kiki and Figueroa have now had to be relied on so heavily in these last two matches, what's that going to do long term for the season? I mean, you also had Kiki getting the a yellow card in the 14th minute, and then Figueroa in the 25th minute. So then at that point, from there on forward, they have to play very reserve and pick their challenges very carefully, which you can't really do against a guy that has speed like Polito. And then kinda is also pretty quick as well. But you're already playing what's the word I'm looking for? In a very protective nature at that point, because you really can't go out there and put your body on the line and stuff like that and actually assist your goalkeeper. And there were a couple goals that were like, oh, okay, yeah, it was on March, but at some point it doesn't really fall on him. The defense hung him out to dry numerous times on Saturday, and it honestly, it could have also, that scoreline could have been a lot higher as well. I mean, that could have been 7-0, with the way they played towards the end.
March. He's been very underwhelming. Honestly, I mean, how are you going to think that a professional keeper is going to come outside of the box attempting to grab it with his hands and then realizing what he was doing, and at the same, and instead of trying to actually clear the ball, just slide to it and just leave it over for Roger Espinosa. Like, his decision making at times has been pretty bad a lot of times.
Now, one thing I did also want to jump on is somebody on Twitter, and I didn't troll them as much as I probably wanted to. Is they were jumping all over the fact that you're like, oh well, the Dynamo got rid of two goalkeepers that were MLS caliber and stuff like that. Look, March has had really good, has gotten good minutes over in Europe, and overall, I do think he's better than Tyler Derrick and Joe Willis. I mean, Joe Willis has made, and he has this year, and he has numerous times in his career, has made some, um, has made some boneheaded moves in his career. And then, of course, you have Tyler Derrick and his off the field stuff. Do you really want that unreliability? I'd rather have Marge, who might caliber wise be maybe the same level or a tick better, than have to deal with the off the field stuff from Tyler Derrick. To be honest with you, you know. Sly says what pisses me off about March is how the front office is selling him. I agree, and it's a cop out for not getting Yarborough. Yeah, the whole Yarborough thing makes me even more mad because the fact that he went to Colorado, or did he go to?
Yeah, he went to Colorado.
Colorado. I don't know why I was second guessing, but Colorado now has a solid goalkeeper for the next however many years, and you're telling me the Dynamo couldn't sell him, or did he just really not want to come here? You know. Is it March was really the second option?
You cannot say that Colorado is more appealing than Houston as far as cities are concerned.
No, it's not. It's not, especially with him playing in Mexico and him also being a U.S. national team player. I mean, he knows what goes on here. It's the city's a great city. I mean, the food. I'm gonna be completely honest. I couldn't be an athlete in this city. I love food. But March does like tacos, so he gets a plus on that aspect. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, guys.
It's just to me, it seems like a total lack of ambition by this front office to actually get a player that that is a lot more appealing or attractive to fans. William Yarbrough is not really that high up the list, but you can't tell me that Marco Maric is ranks higher in that appeal with the fan base here in Houston than William Yarbrough. And I'm pretty sure
Don Robbie does say it's a loan in Colorado right now. Now let me throw this out to you then. Welcome to the show too, Don. Let me throw this out. Is the reason why maybe the Dynamo didn't go after him is because they needed a for sure goalkeeper opposed to a loan? Because let's face it, if Yarborough has a decent year in MLS, I don't see him staying in MLS. I mean, I guarantee you there's an option to buy at the end of his loan.
But wouldn't that? Let's say that it was kind of thing where it had to be a loan. Okay, wouldn't that buy you time to actually go out there and get a decent keeper while you have William Yarbrough in case that this is a loan without an option to buy? It would buy you another year to really look at a decent goalkeeper, maybe even keep on developing either Michael Nelson or Cody Cropper or any one of those. But no, you grab a goalkeeper that hasn't shown the level that they said he had, and also he takes up an international spot. I mean, that to me makes very little sense of a move unless if it was Guillermo Ochoa or somebody that actually has some international reputation, then yes, I'd waste I'd spend an international slot for a keeper on them. That'd be great. But on an unknown like Marriage, I hope he shuts me up this season but right now I am not impressed from what I'm seeing from Marriage.
Delta has tuned in. I'm trying to figure out if that's supposed to be aloha and howdy at the same time.
Yeah, that's Jake. Jake Smookler. How's it going, Jake?
All right, what's up, Jake? Because if so, that is epic. I've never seen that before. Also, as we are recording, Montreal is taking on Olympia in the first leg of the quarterfinals of the CCL. An old Dynamo friend, Christian Maidana, I think is supposed. I don't know if he was in the starting 11, but I know he had played and gotten some minutes with Olympia during the CCL this season. Actually, one of my favorite former Union players.
No one cares about the Union.
Oh, really? MLS did with goal of the week and a few other players, and I mean, it was a pretty stellar game. But like I said, this isn't a Union podcast.
Get out of here.
I do want to ask you about that match a little later when we run through the scores. Packing. I am not going to that. Jake said he's going to the She Believes Cup up in Dallas. I will give my take on that in a little bit. But I do believe that the women's game at BBVA that we went to for the Olympic qualifiers might be my last U.S. soccer game for a very long time. But like I said, I'll get into that a little later. Real quick, Polito did find his way onto the score sheet again with an assist and a goal. He scored in the 16th minute. Roger Espinoza in the 26th minute. Kinda in the 65th minute. And then Shelton in the 77th minute. You had Kiki, Maynard Figueroa, Vera, Lundqvist, and Michael Salazar all picking up yellow cards in the match on Saturday. Like I said, guys, I really don't want to talk too much more about this, but I do want to say, and Edson, I can't remember if you were high on him originally coming into the league or not. But what do you make of Polito so far in the first two matches of the season?
I hate to say it because, frankly, I'm still kind of salty at him for how he left Tigres. But I think he's kind of gelled well so far with his teammates and with MLS.
Yeah,
and it just goes to show that when you actually have talent, you don't need a so-called period of transition in order to do good in the league. They say in Spanish in Mexico. What?
Good. Now, there's a hashtag that Sly put up there, and we need to start using this all the time.
SMGG.
Hashtag SMGG. Spend money, score goals. Or spend money, get goals. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's done well.
He's fit in better than Pizarro has in Miami, and
Chicharito.
Obviously Chicharito in LA. And
but here's the thing, though. But that's because Rodolfo Pizarro, and I've said it before, Rodolfo Pizarro's a player that he'll play whenever he wants, and he's not a player that is very he is talented, but he's not consistent. Pulido hustles. Pulido tries to create his own opportunities, tries to create opportunities for his teammates around him, and he's not like Chicharito where everybody has to create opportunities for him to just tap it in. And that's the difference.
Were talking about that on Extra Time. Chicharito's the type of player where when he is in play, that ball better be on his foot when you do drop it in front of him. He can't go chasing after a ball to make a play. It has to be in his wheelhouse, already ready for him to make a run at.
Yes.
It can't be. He doesn't set up the plays. He is only a finisher, and that's all he'll ever be. And that's honestly. And I do want to ask your opinion real quick. Jake says Tap has a huge mess to clean up after Coyle and Cabrera eras. I 100% agree. Where's it going with that? With Mexico. And I just want to get into this real quick, and then I want to close the book on SKC. Has Chicharito, as a whole, been underwhelming for the Mexican national team?
He hasn't been called up recently.
That explains it. But guys, like I said, there's really not much about this match. Like, I don't even. Statistics wise, we got our asses handed to us. I mean, if you really want to say, oh, we had 13 fouls. Great. What did it get you? Yellow cards. Exactly. We do currently stand at 1 draw, 1 loss. We have a -4 goal difference, and we're currently 12th in the West. And then West is going to move fast this year. I do think it's going to be a lot closer from 6 on up than what people expect. Well, let me take that back. From 3 to about 7 or 8 is going to be really tight. I do think that LAFC runs away with the West. Which actually I don't even know if I can say that after this weekend. But Edson, you got anything else to add about the beatdown in Kansas City?
No,
me neither. But that does take us to our match. Well, first, go ahead and if you are tuning in to the live show, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to our channel, share it, whatever. We really appreciate it. It helps us grow too. As when people search for the Houston Dynamo or anything Houston soccer related, our name will pop up there and helps us get viewers, subscribers, all that good stuff. On Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, go ahead and give us a follow at the Peel05. I personally will take the L this week because I have been feeling kind of under the weather. I haven't put out as much content as I normally do, so whenever the Dynamos send us videos, clips, stuff like that, I typically edit them and then load them up like I did last week. But I hadn't recently. But once starting tonight, I'll probably get into some more stuff this week. Let's see. Sly says, will the fan base wait a couple of seasons though? No. I honestly feel that the fan base is already what's the word I'm looking for? Grown annoyed. I mean, you have Dynamo fans for change. You have, yes, the supporters are there supporting. But the way they've organized this year, I'm surprised that it's bigger, and let this team last place or second to last place in another 2 months. I would hope that the way the supporters are now, especially the Surge, some of these other guys, that they get the ball moving and start pressing for some change if this team hasn't done anything in the positive direction. I do also want to give a shout out. This video is sponsored by Matt Flora Photography. Go ahead and check out his stuff. We are working on trying to get he's normally always at Dynamo matches. We're working on trying to get some of his pictures thrown up there for sale. He has a really badass one of Monota scoring at the last home game. So check that out. What else we got, Edson? Am I forgetting anything else?
No, so far so good.
Hey, I haven't screwed up yet. So 7:30 Saturday, March 14th. I need to tweet out the link for tickets. Dynamo will be taking on the Seattle Sounders. They are currently where'd my stuff go? They are currently 6th in the West, 1 win, 1 draw. They've looked solid. Jordan Moore's had a really good first match. Oh no, my page shut up. I had one job.
You've been CONCACAF'd.
I have. I had the schedule up for the week, so I could look at the scores. Jorge missed the memo. I'm late checking in. No, not really, Jorge. We're kind of winging it today. Let's see. Jorge, I would have asked, since you are in the chat now, how was the watch party and what happened after about the second goal? I do want to get a pulse on the vibe at the watch party, because it couldn't have been pretty.
So Seattle tied Columbus Crew 1-1. Oh, looks like we lost Justin. Oh boy, that is never good. But anyways, so Seattle, they're coming into this match with a 1-1 tie against Columbus Crew. From what we can see from the stats, is that Seattle kind of had a little bit of an edge as far as dominating the match. They had a lot more shots than Columbus Crew did, 16 compared to 5. However, both of these teams had 3 shots on target in this match, which talks to me about the lack of accuracy that Seattle Sounders had in this match. Little bit more of passing accuracy by the Sounders over Columbus, 83 versus 80. But in the end, the score line was, Raul Ruiz scoring in the 79th minute via a penalty. And Giazi Zardes actually opened up the scoreline for this match at the 33rd minute. So Seattle Sounders had to kind of come back from behind at Seattle. I forgot the name of the stadium. CenturyLink Field. So they didn't look. I guess you could say they didn't look good as many people thought they would look. I mean, I don't think this is. I think this is going to be the typical Seattle of the early stages of MLS, in which they're kind of a little bit, lackluster, and then they start picking up later on as the later on. Excuse me, guys. Later on, as the season progresses, they're going to get better. But, against Chicago pretty much dominated. If you guys remember, Chicago dominated the first half of the match. They were actually ahead against Seattle Sounders. They scored first. They had 2 goals called back due to offside, so that could have been a 3-0. But in the second half, Seattle Sounders kind of recovered and were able to get the win with that Jordan Morris brace. So the key here, at least to me, is the Dynamo need to come out guns blazing against. They need to come out guns blazing against Seattle in the first half. You got to score 1, maybe 2 goals to try to keep some sort of buffer against Seattle Sounders. Because if the Dynamo fall off in the second half, and the Seattle Sounders pick up in the second half, and the Dynamo don't score more than 1 goal, you're probably looking at another L for the Houston Dynamo this Saturday against Seattle Sounders at home. And with just 1 point, in 3 games, that's going to be very pathetic. And I know this is a strong word, but it's going to be very pathetic points pickup for these 3 matches so far. And not only pathetic because of the results, but also pathetic play. So let's hope that they learned what they needed to learn against SKC and kind of build up upon it this Saturday against Seattle. Because like we said before, I don't think that the fan base in general is going to be very patient on this team if they don't at least show some sort of improvement. And so far, they haven't shown any improvement. And I still think that the Houston Dynamo were left the defensive aspect of this team. They left it very vulnerable in the fact that they could have gotten at least one other center back or something that could fight for the top spot against Struna or Minor Figueroa. We know that Alejandro Formayor is not that player, and obviously Victor Cabrera may not be that player either, and Kyle Adams is, he's still trying to transition into MLS from USL, and Saturday with the Toros he looked awful, so there's a long way to go. And the fact that Matt Jordan can't see that, and with this transition of Matias Vera trying to hold on to that midfield by himself, I don't know how long it's going to take before the Houston Dynamo actually pick up a decent performance on the field. I don't know what you guys think about that. So, we look into the chat. He says, so Jorge says, well, I was hosting my son's birthday, so I did not attend, but word was the mood was that they were still optimistic. Well, I'm glad to see that there's people that are more optimistic than I am. That's obviously a good sign. But, how long is that gonna last? Kind of thing. But gotta keep the faith. And I know I have a lot of faith in Tab Ramos. I just don't have a lot of faith in some of these players that we have. So Jorge says, by the third goal, people over at my house just moved on. Word at watch party, by third goal, they gave up. So then Justin, who just got CONCACAF by his own computer, says, I'm almost there. Way to go, Justin. Nah, I'm just kidding, man. Take all the time you need. So I mean that's my and not even analysis, because this is just me just kind of looking at numbers and personal opinion about the Houston Dynamo for this Saturday. I want them to win, and don't get me wrong. Just because I'm very pessimistic does not make me less of a Dynamo fan than the more optimistic fans out there. But you can't hide some of the stuff, or you can't sugarcoat bad performances, bad decisions by the general manager, and say that everything's gonna be fine. Of course, it's a Windows update. It is Tuesday. That's usually when Windows lets out their updates. So I guess I'm gonna be BSing still, guys. Help me out here with a couple of topics. What are your thoughts going into this match for Saturday? Another question is gonna be, and I'm kind of going outside of the field now, but lately with the coronavirus news happening, there's been a lot of talk, within the sports world on Twitter that I have been seeing that Rocket League update. Man, I haven't played Rocket League in a while because I've been playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Halo. But I'm going off topic. But basically, it's been happening is with the coronavirus. I know in Europe they've been playing a lot of like the UEFA Champions League. I know Valencia today they played behind closed doors in their UEFA Champions League match. In fact, Serie A has actually halted all of their games until, I believe, April 3rd because of the coronavirus. So, the question that has been thrown around is MLS going to be doing something, about, making, limiting access to reporters after the match? Are they going to do what they did in Serie A, where they're going to, halt the season? Are they going to play these games behind closed doors? I honestly think, the more precautions that we take, the better. I think it's kind of wrong to assume that this is just like the flu. And because it's a pretty new virus. So we gotta take precautions until we know exactly what's going on with them, and we gotta protect each other from it. So Sly Rooster says, maybe coronavirus, the fans won't show. It'll suck the energy out of Seattle for the match. So yeah, Serie A is done until April. And Sly Rooster says, we're going to shut it down in 1 to 3 weeks, in my opinion. Honestly, like I said, I think that would be the best. Especially if we start getting a lot more cases closer to the Houston area. Because I know for now, we've had a couple of incidents in Seattle, who's our next rival. There's been a lot of cases in New York. Houston, I believe so far, has had 3 cases of coronavirus so far, 2 here in Cypress and then 1 in Fort Bend County. So I honestly think right now we should just kind of be on alert. But if more cases are starting to get confirmed here in the Houston area, then yeah, we might start seeing, them taking a stance of saying, hey, you know what, we're limiting the amount of fans going into the stadium, which I don't think they'll have an issue with that. I mean, we haven't had a sellout in a while. Even though they said that the LA Galaxy game was a sellout. But I digress. And then we kind of have to take it from there. But anyways, guys, what are your predictions for this Saturday? Honestly, Justin, come on, man, come on, get back over here. But you know what? We're gonna put Dynamo stuff on hold. So I'll just talk a little bit about RGV. But basically, it's the same thing that we saw. The same thing that we saw against, with Houston against Sporting Kansas City. The same thing happened against with the RGVFC Toros against LA Galaxy 2. 5-1 beatdown at home, which really hurt the worst. And so Sly Rooster says 2-0 Seattle. I'm gonna dare say 2-1. That is my prediction for this match. I do think the Houston Dynamo is going to get one back at least, and I'm going to dare say that it's going to be Memo Rodriguez that's going to score. But I do think that Raul Ruiz will score again, and JMO is going to get another goal, and I'm going to dare and say my bold prediction would be that it's going to be off of a set piece. So that is my that is my prediction for this match. Come on, man, we're losing viewers. But anyways, back to the topic of the Houston Dynamo or RGV. I was specifically very let down by Paul Blanchett. He was a Dynamo. I believe he's a Dynamo loanee. Hold on, I just got a video. Oh, I just got a PM by Webb on Twitter regarding Ronaldo Pena. But that is a topic in and of itself, guys. So Ronaldo Pena was actually announced to be loaned to RGVFC for this past Sunday's match against LA Galaxy 2 for the home opener. As you probably know, as you've probably seen, while the Houston Dynamo were playing, I honestly don't know if it just was sheer coincidence, or if Ronaldo Pena was actually referring to the Houston Dynamo game, but he pretty much tweeted out a yawning emoji. What's his name? Matt Doyle kind of took it and ran with it, kind of saying that, well, why is he tweeting this while his teammates are being beat down by Sporting Kansas City at the same time. Sunday comes in, we get the roster, and Ronaldo Pena is nowhere to be found. He's not in the starting 11. He's not in the bench. There is a whole lot of discussion. Well, Calvin says, "Yo, guys, I just want to say hi and hope your day's doing better than Dynamo. My day's doing fine. I don't know about Justin. His computer kind of died on him, and we're kind of just waiting for him to get back into the stream. Hopefully, it'll be soon. But anyways, going back with Ronaldo Pena, he's not out there in the lineup. He's in the roster. Then Ray Silva of South Texas Border Sports, who I give a huge shout out to, asked Coach Gerson Echeverry about what happened with Ronaldo Pena. All we get is a no comment from the head coach. This morning, the Houston Dynamo tweeted out a happy birthday, a birthday wish to. Hey, it looks like he's finally back. Justin, are you finally there?
I am finally there, but I'm going back old school. I'm using my phone and headphones.
Seems legit. Well, at least you're back.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I hit, do it later, and Windows Update decided to CONCACAF me. So here we are, doing a podcast from my phone. So this should be fun. Um, where did we leave off?
Basically, we were just starting to talk about Seattle Sounders versus LA Galaxy, or Seattle Sounders versus Houston Dynamo for this Saturday. I was just finishing talking about Ronaldo Pena while you were gone.
Trash, and I think that the Dynamo need to look at ways to move him. To be completely honest, he is what's the word I'm looking for?
He's the new Kyoto.
He is the new Kyoto with a lot less talent. At least Kyoto was good off the ball, did a lot of things. Pena, he's had a few flashy moments for the Dynamo, but I don't think he's going to be the guy going forward.
Yeah, but yeah, it was basically, I think it could have just ended there, but Matt Doyle took off with it and made it go national.
Good. Hold players accountable.
Yeah, and then today, this morning, I was telling you that the Dynamo tweeted out a happy birthday tweet to Ronaldo, which was quickly deleted, and I do have the screenshot to prove it. So that, and the fact that Coach Gerson Echeverry kind of said no comment when asked about what happened with Ronaldo Pena, and the fact that right now, and this is confirmed by Ray and Victor. Ronaldo Pena was not at Dynamo practice, and he was not at RGV practice. Kyle and McHugh were at RGV practice today.
Mm-hmm.
So does this mean that he's been pretty much shunned?
Casted out like they did Kyoto? One could only hope, right? Because you don't need that going into a season early. You don't need that kind of chaos around your locker room, especially when you're trying to establish your own locker room. Tab's not going to put up with that.
Because Victor told me, because I asked him about it, and I know he's going to mention it today on Soccer Matters. But Victor said that Tab Ramos did mention that Ronaldo Pena was actually disciplined because of this whole. He says that he broke team policy, so he was disciplined.
Oh, and does that mean he went and cried and, I'm not going to be a part of this team, and goes and runs away? Like, is that really what essentially it boils down to?
I don't know. I think that's more speculation on our end of what exactly happened. But the facts are, he was disciplined. We don't know if the Dynamo told him to come back because he was not going to be playing at RGV because of this suspension or within the team, or he just threw a tantrum of being disciplined by the Houston Dynamo and said, what, screw this, I'm not playing with the second division team, because I know that Ronaldo Pena has had and he's gone again. Because I know for sure that Ronaldo Pena has had that attitude of not taking playing an RGV seriously. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And now Justin has gone away. He's been zucked again. So Sly Rooster says he got it from Kyoto. At this point, I don't think he's as cocky as Kyoto. But I do think that he has the maturity of Kyoto when it comes to, the way he handles himself on the pitch or close to the pitch. I've heard that off the pitch, outside, he's a pretty nice human being. But wait, Don, really? I didn't notice that. So Don says that Pena also changed his profile picture. Let me take a look at that. Oh yeah, you're right. He changed it to a practice picture with the Vino Tinto. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I honestly think that this really means Yes, I think that this really means that he's gone. I think that he's gone from the Houston Dynamo, or at least he's been shunned. Come on, Justin. Anyways, actually, we're gonna go on a quick little break here. So don't go away just yet. We will be back soon.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so apparently Windows Update decided to update after I said don't update. And then my computer just wanted to take forever to reboot and not load up Skype. But we're back. Probably not going to podcast this show now because of all the issues. Or maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I just do a bunch of clips. But where did you guys leave off? Okay. Okay. Shout out to Edson too on holding it down. Edson, when it comes to tech stuff, is a real OG. He's a goat. But hey, hi Sly. I did want to throw this out there, and it makes me a tad bit worried about Saturday. Is the fact that all time the Dynamo are only have 5 wins, 13 losses, 7 draws. At home, it's even worse. At home, it's 4 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses, 10 all-time matches, and we haven't beaten them in the last 5 matches at BBVA. So, it is a little tough, and I hope that the Dynamo could string a result together. We did talk about Pena already. I know Edson gave out his prediction. Mine is it's a 1-1 draw. The center backs are still a little suspect. The defense as a whole is still a little suspect. And I don't know. I'm just worried about the match, to be honest with you guys. We're good up top. It's just the defense has huge question marks, which Edson had said, that's what we brought up beginning of the season, and the Dynamo really hadn't addressed it. You're not going to be able to rely on Kiki to get you 90 minutes every match. You're not going to be able to rely on Figueroa to get you 90 minutes every match, and still be solid defensively. Just it's not going to happen. What I do want to bring up, so we'll close the book on the Seattle match only because I wasn't here, so I really wasn't able to talk about it. But I do have a couple other cool things to talk about real quick. I did kick Josh's ass in fantasy this week. Edson, who'd you play and how many points did you score this last week?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, see, there.
Because I didn't even field a team again.
Oh, look at you. You are in dead last, by the way, with absolutely no points. But you are taking on Josh this week, so just FYI, the Peel Derby is on the line. We should come up for a trophy, inner trophy. Well, loser has to wear the FC Dallas shirt.
Oh, God.
So
I'd rather wear a San Antonio shirt.
I think it might be in your best interest to field a team this week.
Oh, boy. I would rather wear a San Antonio shirt than... Actually, no. I'd rather wear a Frisco shirt than a San Antonio shirt.
They both suck. But just FYI, you and Josh both suck. Josh is in 6th place. You're in dead last. You're 0-2 with 0 points. Your goal difference is hilarious.
I mean...
point difference. Let's see. Trying to think. We got that. Right now, Olympia, as we are recording, are up 2-0 over Montreal in the CCL. In Montreal, so it's not looking too well for them. Any other matches stand out from you from the weekend, results wise?
I think to me, I would say Philly and LAFC.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking off air, well, in our group chat. The fact that Philly goes to FC Dallas, gets beat 2-0, and looks pedestrian at best, okay? Travel to LA to play a Sunday night tilt and stand toe for toe with probably the best team in the West this year, or who's going to be the best team in the West, and not just, hope for a draw. They punched above their weight class and showed that the Union might deserve to be there at the end of this season, deep into the playoffs. And that goal, that needs to be up for goal of the year by Glenice. It was funny because during the broadcast, Holden's like, he's lining up like he's going to take a shot on goal. And then him and what's his name both go nuts. And it's funny because it overshadowed Carlos Vela's goal. But there were just goals flying all over, and almost all of them were pretty.
And it's funny how the Philly scored that free kick, and right off the bat, Diego Rossi scores the equalizer again.
And even Rossi's goal was beautiful too. Let's see. But what I did want to get into before we ended the show tonight, there is the ongoing litigation between the U.S. Soccer Women's National Team and U.S. Soccer over pay parity / pay equality. U.S. Soccer puts out a statement today, and before I go on my rant, they made a claim saying that the U.S. Men's National Team routinely play matches, important World Cup qualifiers in particular, throughout Mexico, Central America, Caribbean. The Women's National Team does not. The USSF said, opposing fan hostility encountered in these M&T road environments, especially in Mexico and Central America, is unmatched by anything the U.S. Women's National Team must face while trying to qualify for an important tournament. Even the hostility fans and home crowds for the men's national team in some friendlies can be unlike anything the U.S. Women's National Team faces. This is all evidence of subsequently different jobs under the EPA. Let's see, and then there was a couple other.
I mean, whose fault is that the U.S. women's national team doesn't quote unquote go into hostile environments.
Oh, it get but this whole article gets worse. USSF said that the women claim their ability level is the same as the men by ignoring the material high level of speed and strength required to perform the job of the men's national team player. A reasonable juror could conclude that the job of the men's national team player required materially different skill and more responsibility than the plaintiff. The job of the men's national team player competing against senior men's national teams requires a higher level of skill based on speed, strength than the job of the men's or of the women's national team competing against other senior women's national teams. Okay, so I'm not going to indulge any more into what U.S. Soccer has to say, but they have also said that they have less responsibility than the men. I say false, number one. Two, or because of that, they are looked up to more as role models than the men are looked up as role models. In perspective, I guess you could say. You know, men dominate this world, and women have, I don't want to say very little role models, but when you compare it to the men, like these women's national team players are heroes to little girls around this country, and I feel like the pressure is more on them than any of the guys playing for the national team. So if you're going to tell me that the responsibility is not as great for the women, I think you're wrong. And the fact that U.S. Soccer has came out and made these claims in the court of law is absolutely disgusting. The women are the only ones in the soccer realm in the United States to ever bring home some hardware outside of CONCACAF. And the women the men win gold cups and stuff like that. Yeah, congratulations, you won a gold cup. You beat Mexico. That's who you beat. But the women, England's on the way up, Spain's on the way up. Brazil, yeah. Edson, put my money on it. Mexico is going to be a powerhouse in 15 to 20 years in the women's game. Okay? They're selling out Azteca for women's domestic team, or for club matches. Okay? So don't come tell me that the men's game matters more, because it doesn't. It needs to be equal, and that's the whole issue here. Pay the women what they're worth. They've won I'm trying very hard not to curse. They've won 4 World Cups. They've won multiple Olympics. Guess when the last time the U21s for the men qualified for the Olympics? 2008. So don't come here, U.S. Soccer, and say that it requires less skill to do the same kind of work, because it doesn't. It is harder for the women, because they not only are they playing a game that doesn't have a ton of eyes on them, outside of the World Cup runs or outside of the Olympic runs, okay? To be good at women's soccer is harder, because not only are you playing other players, you are also playing I'm losing my train of thought. You're playing against people saying that you're not good enough because you're playing a women's sport. And the women's national team have done this numerous times, and they have beaten all the odds, and they've taken home trophies. So from this point on, and me and my wife have made it we're gonna do it. I will not be at that game at BBVA. I will not support this federation. I will support the players all day, but they are not getting a dime of my money until Carlos Cordero steps down and U.S. Soccer totally changes the way they run this organization, and they actually make a conscious effort, men's and women, to grow the game in this country instead of making it all about the dollar amount. Pay the women, pay the men. End of story. Rant over. I could have went a lot worse with that, but it makes me so angry, Edson. Like it really does. Like we shouldn't be having this conversation.
We shouldn't, but when you have people in the federation, especially the higher ups, that are so that are so off touch with the fans and within their own players, and even take on an attitude of brushing off the women's accolades just because they're women. I think it's disgusting and ridiculous that people who are supposed to represent and take care of their players are taking on this attitude. It's disgusting. I mean, the fact of the matter that the U.S. women's players have to take their own stance in merchandising and marketing pretty much. And the fact that you mentioned it off air before we started the show, the fact that even the men's national team players are in favor of this lawsuit by the women's national team, with the women's players against the U.S. Soccer Federation. And
that says it all. I mean, that as U.S. soccer should see that as a whole and just drop it. The fact that the men that you're putting up this pedestal because they make more money, they play more hostile environments, back the women, this shouldn't even be in court. You should be like, oh, okay, then we'll pay the women a little more. Now Sly says, here's my thing: women have achieved more compared to the men, but a women's game doesn't feel as a whole. It should be merit based in my opinion. More fans equal more pay for the men and women, and it's on us. Now, I agree. But Sly, have you actually looked at the attendance of the men's and women's games lately? Like the She's Believes Cup in Harrison, bigger draw than even Red Bulls pulling their own stadium. The men probably wouldn't get that much right now. And I'm gonna tell you right now, don't think that the game at BBVA is gonna be sold out, because it's not gonna be. You're playing Honduras. There's gonna be a ton of Hondurans there. The AO section might be filled,
and most of the Mexican Americans are probably going to end up just going to the Mexico national team.
And if you also look at it, the women play, especially after they win a World Cup, they play more matches than the men, and they also play in the Olympics, the senior squad. So you have all your World Cup games. I'm just talking about the last couple years, okay? All your World Cup group stage. Actually, let me back up. World Cup qualifiers, World Cup group stage, World Cup knockout games, World Cup final, okay? Your victory tour, your She Believes Cup, your Olympic qualifiers, okay? You're talking about, I mean, I'll take it back. You're talking about almost 5 different competitions outside of the knockout rounds of the World Cup.
And the UN's...
And then you also have to go to the Olympics and then still play in a group stage in the Olympics and knockout games in the Olympics, and then tell me who plays more matches. The women play more and get paid less. Like, it almost sucks for the women to be good.
And don't they also...
Because if they wouldn't have...
Don't they also sell almost as much merchandise as the men's? Or something like that?
As of right now, I guarantee you they do. I mean, they won the World Cup, so you've got to look at all the World Cup merch, World Cup champions merch, stuff like that. I mean, did you guys see the World Cup draws in France? Those stadiums, especially when the U.S. played, were sold out. Okay? So there's been plenty of group stage matches for the U.S. men where stadiums 3/4 full, half full. I mean, the men suck right now. And let's face it, the women are where your draw is going to be. Please let the men not qualify for this next World Cup cycle. Let them start dogging it in the first couple rounds of qualifying, and then try to come back to me and have the same argument that the men make more money. I mean, yeah, maybe because your ticket prices are higher, but your draw is going to be bigger at the women's game.
And let's not forget, isn't there a lot more marketing in the or at least from the Soccer Federation perspective and the federation's perspective with the men's national team compared to the women? So
I'd almost say no. I'd almost say they overmarket the women now because the women are the champions. That is their push right now. Yeah, they'll pay for marketing when the men are about to play, but I mean, I don't see I don't see Jordan Morris commercials. I don't see Christian Pulisic commercials. I don't see Bobby Woods commercials. I see Alex Morgan. I see Megan Rapinoe. I see Carly Lloyd. I see all these other stars from the women's team all over TV and stuff for sponsorship and stuff like that. I don't see the men. Do you? And I watch a lot of soccer on TV. How many times have you actually ever seen the men outside of that, commercials? How many times have you seen Josie out the door in a commercial for like Volkswagen?
True.
I mean, you don't. Well, so it's all about perspective, right? Sly, is you have to understand FIFA is going to charge higher for the men's games. But if you look at it and you broke it down as a ratio, I guess more, I'd say it's probably close. I mean, 60,000 seat stadium, men's World Cup, let's say the average ticket's $75. 60,000 seat stadium, women's World Cup, those tickets are probably like $50,000, $45,000. But that's all FIFA based. I guarantee you though, people still would have went and sold those stadiums out if you would have sold them prices for, or sold those tickets at the same prices you did for the men. You know, it's all perspective, and I just think, but on U.S. soccer side, you need to uphold the women. You need to put them on the pedestal that they deserve, because they are the badasses in this federation. The men, unfortunately, are not. I was going to go one of this. I don't remember, but I don't know, Edson. That's what I did. American Outlaws did also put out a statement, pretty much denouncing all of this, and I honestly feel that boycotting in the world of soccer is something that needs to be done more often. It happens in Europe, and it needs to happen here. I honestly feel that AO should not buy tickets anymore to attend matches, or if they do, they stage a walkout. And
yeah, but what's a walkout gonna do? They already got the money anyway.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, it sucks. I just don't want AO to lose their pool with U.S. Soccer, but I do think that I'm totally okay with just having AO not show up. Or what you do, and I think this would be a better point. Okay, you have your local chapter, say it's here in Houston, right? They put up the banners like they do, where they go in 2-3 hours before the match, and then nobody shows up in the section. Nobody. The only people to have tickets are just the ones that are there just to put the banner up in the front that says American Outlaws. And guess what? Don't show up. It's going to hurt them because you didn't sell those tickets. And I honestly feel like, was it tomorrow night? Is it tomorrow night when the U.S. plays Japan in Dallas?
Let me go check.
I honestly, I hope the women don't even. I hope the women protest that match and don't even play. You know what? Let Japan score. Do like they did in Mexico.
Please don't remind me of that match.
Yeah, but you know what though, Edson? It proved a point, did it not?
It made it a lot more viral than if Tigers hadn't done what they did. It made it a lot more viral.
It got eyes on a situation that needed eyes on it. Am I correct?
Yes.
This needs more eyes on it than what is not currently getting on it, unless you're inside the soccer circle. But what I do think is nice, CBS Sports has posted about it. People Magazine posted about this today. Fox News posted about this today.
That's surprising.
You know, a lot of outlets have posted about this today, and how U.S. Soccer came out and said this. Like, really, U.S. Soccer, who's your PR person? Because you really shot yourself in the foot. And I honestly feel that the women don't even need to take the field against Japan. Forfeit the match. Guess what? U.S. Soccer's paying for it. It's a U.S. Soccer tournament. How pissed off would you be as a federation if the women did not finish this tournament? That they're actually going to end up winning.
Oh, I think that would make a huge impact.
My point exactly. I feel bad for all the little girls that are looking up to Megan Rapinoe, Carly Lloyd, Morgan Bryan, Kristen Press, Mallory Pugh, all these girls. Hey, Daddy, why are we not seeing a soccer game today? Because the Federation doesn't want to pay the women the same price or same pay. That's all you got to say. There you go. But that's my rant. Sorry about all the technical difficulties tonight, guys. I will try to edit this podcast and make something of it. Edson, you did a badass job coming through in the clutch when my computer wanted to be a CONCACAF ref. But we will be back next week. Hopefully Josh will be able to be on. It's still up in the air if I'm going to be able to be there press-wise Saturday. I look forward to it because I do want to get some interviews, get some clips from the coaches and some players. Even though the locker room's closed, or have the Dynamo closed the locker room officially?
No.
I know MLS is talking about.
That's what I was mentioning while you were gone too. No, MLS has not made an official decision about it. I'll probably text Edgar when I get the chance.
Yeah. All right, guys. Again, I appreciate it. Sly, Jake, Don, everybody that tuned in tonight. Jorge. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. Go ahead and give this video a like if you can. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, the Peel05. Be on the lookout possibly for a podcast. It won't be until later tomorrow since I do have to do some editing. Normally I'll do it in the morning before I go to work and it'll be ready for you guys on your drive into the city. But that will not be the case tomorrow. Again, thank you guys. If you do see me out there Saturday, definitely feel free to come up, talk some soccer. If you see Edson, same thing. Same thing with Josh. Be sure to check out Edson's Down in the Valley because tomorrow. Is it tomorrow or Thursday?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Because he's going to be going in on that team. Even though it was the first game, but there's still some question marks there. But thanks again, guys. Till next week, I'm Justin.
And I'm Edson. And on behalf of Josh.
Oh, hold on. We're going to reverse this real quick because I do have some big news, which means I am going to end up podcasting this. I have been in contact with all four of the supporters group, the Surge, TA, EB,
Bandera Negra.
And Bandera Negra. We are going to do a supporters podcast edition, or supporters roundtable. Those are the words I was looking for. Supporters roundtable, probably the week that the Dynamo are off. So look for it about March 30th. We're going to do a big show, to be determined where, because PA stuff, mics, all that good stuff is still in the works. But we're just going to talk Dynamo. We'll have a little bit better outlook. We'll have 4 or 5 matches in the book. We all have some other MLS stuff, so it'll be good to talk about. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Justin.
And I'm Edson.
And for Josh, this is the Peel, and we're out of here.
Bye. Forever Orange, and hold it down.